In the early 20th century, Benjamin Holt changed agriculture forever. Meet the tractor that conquered the earth. Welcome to the greats of our time.
Imagine buying a machine to solve a problem, only for that machine to get so stuck in the mud that you need another machine to pull it out, which then also gets stuck. Welcome to California's San Joaquin Delta in the late 1890s, a place where the dirt was so soft and swamp-like that heavy farm machinery didn't just stall, it literally sank into the abyss. Farmers were desperate. Horses were suffocating in peat dirt, and the mega machines of the Industrial Revolution were useless against a few feet of wet mud, until one man looked at a pair of wooden planks and said, "What if the machine laid its own road as it moved?" Today, on the Greats of Our Time, we're tracking the wild history, fierce rivalry, and battlefield heroism behind the machine that quite literally reshaped the face of the earth, the Caterpillar tractor. To understand the invention, you have to understand the San Joaquin Delta. The soil was insanely rich for agriculture, but it was basically floating peat. The era's premier power source was the steam traction engine. But these beasts weighed over 40,000 pounds. To keep them from sinking, inventors built wider and wider wheels. By 1900, Benjamin Holt, an inventor from Stockton, California, had built a tractor with wheels 8 feet tall and 6 feet wide on each side. The machine was 45 feet wide overall. It was a nightmare to steer, impossibly top-heavy, and, spoiler alert, it still sank. Realizing wider wheels weren't the answer, Holt turned to an older, forgotten concept: the continuous track. Instead of rolling on a round wheel, why not wrap a set of wooden tread blocks around the wheels on a chain? On November 24, 1904, Holt replaced the rear wheels of a 40-horsepower Holt steam engine with his experimental wooden track system. He hauled it out to the soft mud of Roberts Island. While traditional wheeled tractors sank almost instantly, Holt's prototype glided right over the peat, pulling heavy plows with ease. It didn't sink, it didn't slip, it just worked. So where did the name Caterpillar actually come from? The story goes back to March 1905, during a public test run reported on by local journalists. As the machine crawled across the dirt, its wooden tracks flexing up and over the drive sprockets in an undulating motion, Holt's photographer, Charles Clements, stared at it and exclaimed, "It crawls just like a caterpillar." Benjamin Holt overheard him, smiled, and allegedly declared, "Caterpillar it is." Holt formally registered Caterpillar as a trademark in 1910. What started as an offhand joke by a company photographer became one of the most recognizable brand names on the planet. While Holt intended his invention for farming, history had darker plans. When World War I broke out in 1914, Western Europe turned into a nightmare of trenches and artillery-churned mud. Traditional horse teams and wheeled trucks were helpless when moving heavy 8-inch artillery guns. The British War Office ordered thousands of Holt Caterpillar tractors. These tractors moved millions of tons of supplies and heavy artillery through impossible terrain. In fact, British military engineers, inspired directly by the continuous tracks on Holt's tractors, armored the design, added guns, and created the world's very first military tanks. Even Winston Churchill acknowledged that the technology behind the Holt tractor was vital to the Allied victory. But back home, a bitter courtroom war was brewing. Holt's chief rival, C.L. Best, was building gasoline-powered tractors that were lighter, faster, and more reliable than Holt's heavy steam engines. For over a decade, Holt and Best sued each other over patent rights, undercutting prices and burning millions in legal fees. Then came the post-WWA economic depression of 1920. With defense contracts dried up, both companies were on the brink of bankruptcy. Realizing that fighting each other meant mutual destruction, the two rivals did the unthinkable. In 1925, Holt Manufacturing Company and C.L. Best Tractor Company merged. They called the new venture the Caterpillar Tractor Company. From building the Hoover Dam and the Golden Gate Bridge to carving out roads across Amazonian jungles, yellow Caterpillar tracks became the engine of modern civil engineering, all because a California inventor refused to accept getting stuck in the mud. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how engineering ingenuity changed history, hit that like button and subscribe to At the Greats of Our Time. Drop a comment down below. What invention or industrial pioneer should we cover next? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story of human greatness.